Hello, my darlings. Hello, my loves. Welcome to the energy report for the week of October 28th through November 3rd. We're going to go ahead and clear the energy of the air because it has been some wild things already happening and it's only Monday. There are a lot of transits this week and we're not going to go through all of them, but what I will say is that there is high amounts of Mercury energy going this week. And what Mercury rules is communication, strategy, the mind, even short-term travel. So just think about like how you're speaking, who you're speaking to. Think before you respond. Like respond. We're not here to react. We're not here to just start popping off at the mouth and blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. Slow down, baby. Like, slow it down. We do have a new moon in Scorpio on Friday the 1st. It was like Friday the 11th. No, Friday, November 1st. Mercury enters Sag on Saturday the 2nd. Mars enters Leo on Sunday the 3rd. Today on Monday, we've got this Venus square Saturn energy. And my first question for you this week to reflect on is it's a question, it's a statement and a question. So reevaluate what's truly worthy of your time, effort, love, and creativity. Where are you feeling appreciated versus where are you not? Where is your time well invested versus frivolously spent? So I'm going to reflect on Libra season a little bit because that energy is still carrying forward. We're not so far removed. We're in the very beginning of, Scorpio season. And the Libra was all about the relationships and how relationships are shifting. And Libra rules relationships of all kinds, not just romantic. So friendships, family ships, soul family, chosen family, acquaintances, people that you have to talk to at work, business, anything where you have to be in communication and be in the energy of somebody else is some type of relationship. The depth of relationship is different depending on obviously the circumstance. But relationships have been shifting. So now we're getting to the point where it's time for you to really reevaluate where is your time well invested. Time is the most valuable resource you have. It's high key more valuable than money because you cannot get your time back. You do get time, the same amount of time every day, right? And the way that you invest time and the return that you get for that is going to be dependent upon what kind of environment was that time spent in? What type of nurturing is going into that time? Sometimes when you plant, crops or garden stuff, it's a wash. Like they get flooded, it gets flooded out, there gets too much sun, they get burnt up, you get ravaged by squirrels, your berries are all eaten, your tomatoes are jacked up, but that is part of the process. So I'm not telling you that like to get you to be afraid to invest your time. No. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to invest your time into spaces that later you found out were not actually the best investment because the environment, the ecosystem wasn't really flowing, right? Like you thought that it would or that it could. So it's really just like where is your time well invested versus frivolously spent? Where are you leaving feeling uplifted and filled up versus drained every single time? Now, that doesn't mean that every great time investment is going to leave you feeling overflowing every time because there may be some challenges that come in those spaces. You may have to, again, we're going back to the garden. You may have to fight off some fruit flies or some gnats or I don't know what other types of, pests can come into a garden, but you got to treat it. You have to treat the issues as they arise. Okay. So it's just really, and this is Venus square Saturn. Saturn is Chronos. Saturn is time. Saturn, I call him Daddy Saturn because there's a structure. There's karma that comes with Saturn. There's a disciplinary aspect that adds, it's like tightening a belt almost. Like, all right, pull up your pants, put your suspenders on and get ready to go, get ready to work, right? Where Venus rules that wealth, that beauty, that love, that money. So are your relationships fruitful for you? Just check and see. Do a good audit on those relationships and see what is actually, bringing you to where it is that you hope that you would be. And sometimes it might be time to let go. So, a next question I've got for you is, how can you remember to slow down and ground before responding to others? Again, a lot of times we can get to talking, we can let the energy flow, but with Uranus being in opposition to Mercury this week, there's going to be some reflection and tension in that area. Like, there may be a challenge to communicate in a way that is actually grounded versus something coming out of left field. And while we do get those drop ins and those downloads, I want you to really feel and think through them and think about who you are speaking to. Is this person the person that is going to understand or be intrigued or curious or interested in even what you have to say? All of your downloads are not meant to share. All the information that runs through your head is not meant to share with everyone. So, there's also Mercury trining Neptune this week, which Neptune is very dreamy, right? It is very much that energy of spirituality, of transcendence, of it's ruled by Pisces, and it's actually in Pisces right now. So it's in its home. It's enjoying its time there. However, like, Pisces has this energy where they can go into this other world and get lost. So make sure that when you are speaking, that you are finding your grounding. Like, even me doing this report this week, Mercury in Pisces doesn't happen until Thursday, like exact, but we're going to start feeling the effects of that earlier. And the mental focus that has been required of me, and it's only Monday, um, I have been bouncing all over the place, right? There's a desire to just relax and daydream and just lay back and chill whenever there are things that need to be done. So harness your tools, like use your crystals. I've got some hematite sitting out here right now. And any other earthly things you can that can keep you rooted. Black stones are really great for grounding, black tourmaline, other things of that nature. I'm actually wearing a hematite bracelet. I wear this all the time because it helps me stay here on earth, if that makes sense. It helps me do that a lot better than sometimes I would without it. So tap into the energies that help ground you. That could be a person, that could be putting your feet in the actual grass, that could be getting a massage, that could be getting some sound healing. I actually got on my sound bed before I did this to help get me out of my head, because it was just, I was over analyzing things. It was like, oh my gosh, like the Mercury influence and is just buzzing right now. And I'm ruled by Mercury. I'm a Virgo rising. So my chart is very heavily influenced by Mercury transits. If you're curious about what transits may affect your chart, hit me up. We got sessions, because your rising sign is the the planet that rules your rising sign is what rules your chart, not your sun sign. That's a totally different thing. But it's going to be heavily influencing what's going on in your chart for this week. So for the new moon in Scorpio on Friday, what is your dark passion that you've been holding within that is ready to be released into the world? When I say dark, it's most likely something that is taboo, that may be a guilty pleasure of yours, but like, it's really, really much deeper than that. Like, when I say guilty pleasure, that usually means that you care what somebody outside of you thinks about it. Scorpio is the sign of transformation, rebirth, the occult, passion, intensity. It's spicy water, as I just love to remind everybody. It's ruled by Mars and Pluto. Mars is the god of war, the god, it's the god of war, the leadership, it's motivation, it's sexuality, it's your body, even in a certain circumstance. It's that movement, it's that divine masculine, it's that inspired action. So bringing all of those things with Pluto, with that transformation, god of the underworld, like death and rebirth. Let's see what else we got on Pluto. It's just how we transform and how we make lemonade out of lemons. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade, make a lemon cake, use up all of that shit. But how are you going to do that? And then what are you going to get rid of at the end of the day that doesn't actually serve you? So how can you brainstorm and allow your creativity to flow unapologetically without focusing on controlling the narrative of the ideas when it comes to this dark passion that you have? Because, again, people think fixed signs are all about control. Yes, we all have control things, right? However, it's really just like, when can you let go of of the idea that you focused on in your head. Like sometimes, okay, I can remember drawing as a kid and I'm like, oh, I need it to look just like this. I would have this idea of how this picture needed to look in my head. And when it wouldn't come out looking like I thought it should look in my head, I would get pissed. Like, I was like, what in the world is this? Who drew this? Oh, it was me. But sometimes the idea you have in your head is not how it's going to come out in real life. Learn to go with the flow. Okay? Like, learn to tap into the creativity, let it flow, like sketch out all of your ideas. It's not about getting stuck on one. What if you have three brilliant things that you feel like are actually separate, but in reality, they're meant to be blended together? So give yourself some grace in this process, but just let that creativity flow. Ooh, gosh, mentioned we have a lot. Mars entering Leo on Sunday. It's in its pre-retrograde shadow. It will go retrograde, I think, like December 6th. Retrogrades are all about the the going back, the what are you taking action on, or what are you not going to take action on in this case. In what spaces are you moving in a direction that it's actually time for you to pause and pump the brakes and take a pit stop and be like, let me actually reevaluate my action plan toward these things. But Leo is that sign of the sun. Like it's ready to go. Mars, again, likes being in fire signs mostly. But it's definitely going to be more about like we're still slowing down. Mars is still slowing down. So it's going to shine some light on those different projects that you have or those things that you have going, that it's going to be time to reevaluate because it will eventually go back into Cancer. But we're not going to talk too much about that. What we are going to do is hit these cards. Today we're using the Light Seers Tarot deck. We're going to do as above, so below, and the bridge in between. Just some things that we need to know and see. All right. As above, Four of Pentacles. So below, Five of Cups. And the bridge in between, Eight of Wands. So, Four Pentacles. Eight of Wands. Five of Cups. Probably one of my least favorite cards in the deck. Ten of Swords is actually the least favorite, and Three of Swords. But the Five of Cups is like reminder, like, yes, some cups are going down the drain. We already talked about what are some of the things that you've given your time and your energy to, that you've held space for, that have not come to the fruition or completion that you would have hoped. That's what that Five of Cups energy is. We can look at it. Normally there's two cups standing with things still in it. This one's kind of got three that are empty. The fourth one that is actually spilling down into this portal, into the earth where it's been cracked open. And then there's one full cup sitting behind the girl sitting on the ground, but she doesn't really realize that it's there. She's just giving all of her energy to what's getting poured down the drain. She's crying over spilt milk. It's okay to feel your feelings. We have a new moon in Scorpio. I talked about diving into these deep feelings. Your feelings are valid. You get to grieve. You get to feel everything on a spectrum. And if you're not able to feel, or you think that having those lower vibrational feelings is bad, first of all, good and bad is not even a real thing. Nothing is good or bad until you put a judgment on it, right? Till you have a thought about it. Because some things that can appear bad can actually be some of the best things that have ever happened to you. And I know everyone has experienced things like that in their life. And things have just happened. There's nothing we can do to change the past. So it is about acceptance and moving forward and taking the lesson from these situations, so that way you can see them coming whenever they come around again. Because Spirit, God, universe will always bring you situations that are going to, I don't like saying the word test, but it's going to give you the opportunity to choose either the same way that you've behaved in the past or behaving in a new manner. And like that Pentacles energy too, that Four of Pentacles in the as above position is very much about keeping your shit very close to the chest. It's I mean, Pentacles rules money, it rules home, it rules family, it rules earthly matters. But for this one, it's just like she's got this purse, and all of her valuables are in her purse. And that could be literally her values. What are your values? Like, I retooled my values this week. Something that I hadn't thought about in a long time, but like things have shifted. Your values can shift and change. They do not need to remain the same. Sometimes earth can get stagnant, it can get stuck. And then you can, again, get in your head about it, or you just completely package it up, put it under the rug, put it in the corner somewhere, and you don't look at it again. But this is very much that energy of like, okay, what is sacred to you? What is safe? What do you want to keep safe? Because what do you want to move with in the back of your mind and in your body and in your spirit? So that way, when these situations come about again, you're like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm very clear on the circumstances of what I believe in, and not even the circumstances, but I'm very clear on my values. I'm very clear on my beliefs. I'm very clear in how I wish to show up in this world. I'm very clear on what keeps me grounded and rooted, what helps me feel safe, because you're essentially building things around your values to reinforce everything in your life, right? For example, I would say one of my values is authenticity. And if I'm showing up in spaces where I feel like I have to hide who I am, or I can't talk about certain things because, oh my God, this might upset somebody, fuck those people. Like, that's not a space where I need to show up in, and especially if I have a choice whether to show up there or not. You can build and facilitate your own community. And there's communities out there with people that are on the same vibe as you. Like, one of the things for me is also community. It's like fostering and building a community where people can show up as themselves, as their whole weird self. Like, as long as you're not hurting nobody. Listen, that's where I draw the line. Like, if you're doing some crazy shit and you hurting people, like, nah, I have no space for that in my community. You need to go seek some help. Like, we might point you in the right direction to get you the healing if you are hurting people, because hurt people hurt people. However, there's different levels and different entry points into different communities, right? So finding your grounding, finding out the values that you hold close and dear to your heart, because this Eight of Wands, once you're able to, essentially figure out these values and this as above, and you're going to start bringing them into the so below, Eight of Wands, they're going to start coming in quick. Eight of Wands is a card of messages. It's fire. Wands are fire. Pentacles are earth. Cups are water. So in order to, oh, that's interesting. Their vision I just got was more of like a field. So sometimes they burn off fields so that way they can, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I've read like you can burn off a field to kind of cleanse it to start over again. That, and then, I mean, water puts out fire, right? It's going to rain. Like, there's going to be water to wash away some of those things. I don't know if that's the exact process, but that's what I saw. I saw things being lit on fire in a field. So that way it's charred, it's scorched, it's whatever. And then we're reintroducing things into the soil that need to be there. So that water is that nurturing energy. It's pouring into the cracked open, dry ass earth. So there is a portal in the bottom of this cup, or in the bottom of this hole right here on this card. And I even can see like she is crying. Like, yes, you're gonna grieve in this process, because any time that you are transforming something, we have Pluto this week. Mercury's in Scorpio until Friday. So with all of this mercurial energy in the sign of transformation, ruled by God of the underworld and the God of war, like, what is it that you are releasing that you have been fighting? You have been holding on to it. You've been fighting releasing it because you don't know what comes next. Spirit is like, spirit. It is like, listen, homie, you don't have to worry about how or what comes next. Just release, and I will refill that space with what actually needs to be there. Your cups will be refilled over and over and over again, because sometimes you want to try some new shit and you taste, you like, that's not what I thought it was going to taste like. And then you dump it out. You release it to the earth to be transmuted and changed into something that is going to serve you. You release that energy, you let it go. And then, oh, here comes, like, I'm thinking Claudia have a chance of meatballs, as some of my friends were talking about this weekend. But now it's raining your favorite kind of juice. and you have your cup and you're like, oh my God, I never thought this was going to happen. Well, your cup was full of bullshit before. Now that you've dumped out the bullshit, you have an empty cup, so you have multiple empty cups that you can fill with your favorite type of drink. So, my darlings, keep like just release things that are no longer serving you. Cleanse the area, grieve, cleanse your heart space, feel, journal it out, talk it out. Um, use the modalities that you have at your disposal. Utilize your plant medicine, utilize your herbs, utilize your healing practitioners. Hi. Um, I offer sound bed sessions. Like I have a sound bed. It helps you literally move the energies in your body, and uses frequency that you listen to, which are proven to, essentially you can shift your energetic state depending on the type of frequency and to where you want it to go. Get readings. Go see your therapist. Go to the doctor. Go to your holistic practitioner. I don't care who it is. Whatever assistance you feel that you need in order to help you move through this heavy energy, because it is heavy. There is some heavy, heavy points in this stuff. We're moving through a lot of fear right now. I didn't talk about the human design transits, but a lot of things are moving through the spleen area, and the spleen rules fear and intuition and survival. But fear, lots and lots of fear. So it's really important for you not to just stuff your fears down and hide under the blankets. It's time for you to speak them out loud so you can talk to them. Know your fear's name. When you know your fear's name, you can call it out. So you can be like, hey, fear of being seen. We need to have a chat. We need to talk about this, and let's feel through this, and let's see how we can get you some courage to be seen. But sometimes you don't get that courage without stepping into the space of being seen. If you keep hiding, you'll never get the courage. So, all right, last little affirmations. Ooh, my heart, y'all. All right, let's see what we got. Maybe. Cry. Shut the fuck up. 25. Cry. The earth never held back rain out of fear of looking weak. It releases when it needs to so that the sun can shine again. Choose. 23, which I was just looking up 23 in numerology, and it is one of those really, really good like power numbers. Like Jordan wore 23 for a reason. So it's very much that, what is it, Heart of the Lion, something like that. But it's like, oh, like there's just that your success is imminent whenever that number shows up. The other one was 25. So 23, choose. There will come a time when you will leave this human experience and changing your mind will no longer be an option. You have the right to choose. You can always change your mind. Now, I will say that I would love for you to actually give your first choice a chance. Don't just change your mind the next day. Like, actually, whenever you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to give it my all, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to focus, I'm going to do this. Give yourself time to do that. Like, just because you didn't do it for 2 days doesn't mean you need to change the plan again. So stick to something. And then once you've given it, I don't know, week, 2 weeks, whatever, sufficient time, like actual time, be honest with yourself, then change your mind if it's not working. Last one, 26. Wow, these are all really close together. Love. The language of the universe is love. If you cannot understand love, how will you ever know when the universe is speaking to you? And I say you're either moving out of fear or love. Move out of devotion. Devotion is rooted in love. Discipline is rooted in I'm not going to say fear, but maybe. But it's rooted in more of that like stricture, that drill sergeant type of energy. It's like you're not doing it because you love it. Now, sometimes there are things that you're going to do that is not directly out of love, but look at what it's a part of. If it is part of something that you are passionate about, but you just don't like doing this thing, remember the end goal. Remember why you're doing it in the first place. Move out of love for yourself. Move out of love for those around you. Learn what that feels like in your body. Like, to me, love can feel just like a cool breeze on a hot day. And it's your people showing up for you whenever you didn't even know that so many people would show up for you. It's people, it's one of my best friends, like she had shut the garage door and I was trying to figure out like how I was gonna shut the garage and take my dogs out and which way I was gonna do it. I didn't have to think about it. I got halfway up the stairs and she shut the door and I was like, y'all, that's love. Like somebody just taking care of something that they have the power to, that's going to assist you. So there's different kinds of love, y'all, but move out of love. I love you. And as always, if you would like your own personal reading, if you would like to look into spiritual life coaching, which involves astrology, human design, tarot and oracle card readings, and also some logical things of like getting your calendar together, project management tools of, oh, this is your goal. Well, these are the things we need to do in order to get there. These are the habits that you need to embody in order to be the person that is achieving this type of goal. And then even taking an assessment of like, where are you in your current journey? Like, who are you right now? Who do you believe that you are? Who do you want to be? Because a lot of the times, who you want to be has always lived inside of you. You've just been conditioned to believe that that's not who you are, that you're not capable of that. Mind, body, and spirit. So it is a threefer. It is the trifecta, the triple threat, the power of three. So I love me some threes, y'all. So you know what, my darlings, my loves, just hit me up if you need anything. And I hope this blesses you this week and helps you move through. I love you.